Okay, so chapter 10 out of the PHP book talks about, I'd say the first half of it is stuff you already know. Editing, deleting, filling out a form, getting it to do those basic UD functions of CRUD, the U and the D. But the other thing that's going to go over is pagination and sorting data on a page. So pagination is where you've got the previous and next down at the bottom of a list of things. And this requires a pretty tight synergy between your PHP and your SQL. I'm going to go over that. And then so does being able to sort a table. So for example, if you want to have up at the top of your table first name be clickable, click on it and suddenly the page refreshes and it's in order, alphabetical order by first name. We can do that as well. So I've got, I added a whole bunch of new users to my users database or table, and what have I got? Like 8 or 7 of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and display 5 of them at a time, and allow the user to go previous and next through these. So here's my PHP that makes this happen. There's just a simple connect over to the database file that takes care of all of my connection. And here's my current query, which is just grab everything from users. Down here in my HTML, there's a little do while script that will simply spit out the email, the first name, and the last name in a div. And just does all of that. Well, what I want to be able to do is add in a new constraint called limit. Do you guys remember that from SQL class? Okay, so limit can have 2 functions to it, or 2 numbers, which are how many and where should it start. And I thought I had my book out. I had that limit. And I'm sorry, it's always got to be, you start at 0 and you go for 5. Am I doing that right, Karen? Typically, if you're just starting off, you just put this, and it only gives you the first 5 results. So I have no idea if this is going to work. Let's see. Firefox up and running. Okay, so that's giving me the first 5. I can shift this over and say I want to start at the next 5. So wait, oh shoot. Yes, we'll replace both of these actually with a variable. Let me do 1. Wait, so it starts at 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many did it give me? Went up to Sally at shelter. Went up to here. It actually, so it did give me 5, but starts at 0. So if I want to do the next one, I think I have to start at 5. Did that grab the right ones? Yes. So that started at, did I do this right? Limit 5. Yeah. So it starts at, it just does the next 5. So what I can do in this situation is basically I need to have down here, after the do while loop, I need to say previous 5. Say it again.
The first variable is the number of the record.
Uh-huh.
The second one is how many.
Yes. Yes, I believe it's called offset and display. It's where do you want to start in the record set and where do you want to stop, and how many do you want to go for. All right, so down here at the bottom, I'm just going to create little span tags to hold this, not body, span, spick and span. There we go. So these are, I'm going to turn these into links. Now these links will link back to this exact same page, but I need to tell them ahref equals index.php, that's this exact same page, and now I need to tell it that I want it to go -5 in the record set or +5 in the record set. So I'm just going to do my offset equals -5. And in the next, just copy this. That's a next. It's not -5, it's +5. So that means when I hit one of those links, this page is simply going to reload. I'm going to have to create a variable here called $O for offset. You can come up with a full variable if you want, but I like simple ones like this. If $_get O that's not right. So is numeric? Is number? I had the wrong. Is underscore numeric. Sometimes I hate PHP. And I think that's get 0. Let's do get O. There we go. Then $O equals this guy. So now I can start to use this ±5 around the page or in my SQL. So instead of 5 down here, I can say sort of limit 0. Well, this is kind of working. Or limit O. So this is, you can see that this is probably not going to work properly. I'm going to be getting into situations where if I start off, I could actually hit previous and suddenly try and go into the -5, literally right into -5. So what I actually want to do is the first time you come to the page, I want to start it at 0. I want the whole thing to start at 0, and then I want to move up and down based on that. That's actually going to be a lot more secure.
Multiple so that reach the end of the results, they'll work again.
Oh, so it sort of wraps in on it, over on itself. When you get to the end, it then includes the beginning. Oh, I know what you're talking about. That requires some AJAX. That was a little bit more complicated than what I can show you in this class. Yeah, there's some cheated way around that, or ways around that, where you actually just SQL the entire database and only show it 10 or 20 at a time. And when they scroll to the bottom, you have a jQuery that just loads another div with another set of 20. But mostly that's done, it's the same limit thing, and it just keeps polling the database only as it needs it. Because one of the benefits of this particular technique is you're not, the way Dreamweaver does it, it queries the entire database and then shows you 10 of them. This one, I want to query 5 of them and then show you 5 of them. It's going to be a lot less processor intensive. So what I actually want to do is I want the first time through, if there's no get, if that O has not been defined in the URL, I simply want it to be equal to 0. So this is a good way to start with that. Well, if it's equal to 0, then what I can do is I can take O down here, and instead of being equal to 5 or -5, I can create a little PHP command. PHP echo $O -5 or O +5. So the first time through it's equal to 0. And here it's going to come through and O is going to be, it's still going to be set to -5 and 5. but I can write another if statement that prevents them from going below a certain threshold or above a certain threshold. So for example, maybe I should make this a little bit more, actually, why don't I just do this as variables up here? I'll just do this $previous is going to equal to something, and $next is going to equal to something. So previous should be O minus 5, and next should be O plus 5. Now this one should only work if we're going to stay in the positive range, if O is 5 or greater. So I'm going to need a little if statement. If $O is greater than or equal to 5, then previous is equal to that, else previous, we're just going to set it equal to 0. I'm sorry, actual 0. There we go. I think that works. There. Okay, so that works. So if somebody types in -53, you could actually just do that in the URL. Well, that's not going to work. That'll error out. This should take care of most of those. If they type in ABC or something like that, it should still default over to previous equals 0. Yeah.
You made O equal PHP tag. What data type is it called? Is it string?
Where? Down here at the bottom? Or?
Yes, right there. In parenthetical where in the quotation says index box. Yeah, where you echo.
So what's going on? A href equals, here's the double quote and here's the ending double quote. It's going to take you to index.php.
Yeah.
Question mark means variables are coming up. The first one is called O, and it is set equal to whatever this spits out.
That doesn't need to be in quotations, right?
It does not. No. In fact, it's sent primarily, it's pretty much sent as a string, but PHP is an untyped language, and as soon as right up here where it receives the get, it listens for it and tries to throw it into a variable. As soon as it sees that it's actually a number, it turns it into a number. So $O is numeric.
Right, but I see that. Well, get is a variable, so you're passing a variable to another variable.
Yes.
I understand that. But how do you pass the PHP tag into the variable?
Oh, I'm not.
Without the PHP.
Oh, no. That's not what's actually happening here.
Oh, I see.
This is not going to, it's not going to be this in the URL. It'll be this, but the computer is going to see in this PHP file, it's going to say, oh, this is PHP command. I need to run this now, so I'm going to echo out 0 plus 5. All of this will become the number 5 in the HTML. Okay. This might work. Oh, no, not yet. Because I'm still printing out the wrong thing. Now that I've made those variables up here, previous and next, I need to spit them out down here. And I think this will work. So previous 5 and next 5 is going to be, can you see that down in the lower left? So if I click next 5, oh, it's not quite working. It should, no, that's correct. Because the limit currently is basically at 5. So the next one would be 10, the previous one would be 0. And I just don't have enough examples to keep going. Now, what about the top end here? It shouldn't be allowed to keep going. For example, I could sit here and keep doing this, and it's going to count forever. But that's not good. Come back. There we go. So we can go beyond the range with the current setup. We need to know what the we can do almost identical to this one with the next, as long as it's less than or equal to whatever the maximum is. We need to figure out what the maximum is. And in order to do that, we need to run another query, because right now this query, the one that actually displays information, only shows 5. And we can't tell it to go grab the full query and just display the 5. That's really inefficient. But what I can do is another quick little query here. This is in the wrong place. But what I want to do is just grab one column out of the database, preferably the one that has the least amount of information, so user level. I'm going to do select user underscore level. I'm going to call this query 2. I'll just put a 2 in front of everything so it's a little easier. From users, I'm not going to limit it. I want to know how all of them are, or where all of them are. And I'm going to do $row underscore rs query 2 total. It's equal to a command I have suddenly forgotten. I'm going to have to look at one of the examples. Sorry, I just forgot about this. Well, the ceiling, is that it? MySQL numRows, that's the command I was looking for. I want to just make this simple. Total. I was going to find out how many rows there are in this out of the entire database. Because I didn't use asterisk, I'm only counting up what's in one column of the database, which is information that has to be there. But I think there might even be more efficient ways to do this with SQL. Just tell it to count. In fact, why don't I look that up? Because that might make it even easier and faster to run. SQL count. This is a, we'll create a calculated column. Yeah, we can do that. We don't even need this anymore. Select count user level. Wait. That might not be right. Let me go back to the way it was for just a second. I know I can make this one work. I do have one problem here, though. I've made my query after this, so I can't have my code down here affect the stuff up here. So I'm going to have to take this one and pull it down here. So my next is if $O, that's what I want to do. If it's greater than 5, okay, if it's less than or equal to total, then I want next to be equal to 0 plus 5. And I'm not sure if I need, hold on. Why doesn't it like that? I'm not sure if that's actually wrong or not. Let's find out. It doesn't like this. MySQL numRows expects parameter 1 to be resource array given. Okay, select. Let me see if this is a real problem. Okay, that one's not real, but it's not getting down to here. MySQL numRows doesn't appear to be working properly. MySQLi. I use MySQLi for everything. Query. Oh, MySQLi numRows. Let's do that. No, doesn't like it. Grab the wrong one. Oh, I think I did grab the wrong thing. It's supposed to be that. That's what it was. Okay, so now it won't go past 0. And when it goes to 5, uh-oh. Got something going on. So, undefined variable next in line 47. It's down here, right? Offset. So what happens when it gets to the end? What is happening? Come on. Okay, when it's here, next O is equal to 5, so it's offsetting by 5. When it gets to this page, it doesn't know how many to it's offsetting by 10. Oh, yeah, yes, and it should be. But when it gets to 10, oh no, I can't. I don't want it to go past that.
You said less than or equal to.
Well, let's say there are 7 in the database. So basically, oh, I think I'm doing this wrong. It's if the offset is greater than or equal to the total, as long as it's less than or equal to total, go to this.
Well, if it's equal to the total, you want it to go below the total?
No.
Or would it be less than?
What I would rather do is hide next and previous when they get to their respective limits. That's what I want to have happen. If $O is greater than 0. Let's see if I'm going on autopilot. I'm not exactly sure that this is what we need. What this should do is, once we get back to the beginning, it's going to hide it. What I want now is, since it can't go any further, I want next to disappear. If where'd it go? Where's the stupid PHP? Code block. There we go. Why did it give me a cookie? Okay. If $O is within 5 of total? No. Make that $O is greater than, if it's greater than 0, display the previous. If it's less than total, I'm not sure if I'm doing this quite right. I think that's still not perfect. It's still letting me go beyond the limit, but after that I can't go any further. So I think what I have to do is, if it's beyond total minus 5, it might be minus 4. Do you really not like that? What? That's fine. I'm allowed to do that. Oh, I don't need a semicolon there. That's what I needed. So if I go into my database and I add a whole bunch more of these so I can actually have a middle page, we insert a few more. Stuff.com, stuff, 6, blah, 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 I don't care. Here's you, Karen. You look so thrilled to be here. Close enough. Password's now 1234556. And that puts me up to 9. I need just to do this one more time. So just junk. And I think I got this. Previous 5. When I'm at the beginning, don't show previous anymore. Not going to worry about the coding for it, just don't show it if you're at the beginning. Next, previous and next seem to work. If I go to the next one, I'm at the end, it will not let me keep going beyond the next. That's pagination. The only other thing that you might want to do is have it in between here. Display the total number. So in this one I can echo so we can see 5 to 5. This doesn't really tell you where you are in the mix. Dreamweaver's pagination does the next step, which is you're looking at records 5 to 10, 5 to 9 of 11. I'm not going to worry too much about that, but I can at least tell you how many there are total. The last thing I want to do to this is make it so that, so that the table is sortable, so that we can view it by the order of, because right now it's just the order in the database. Right now it's there is no ASC or DESC on it. Or there's no order by at all on this. So we're going to need another variable in here. Come back. Not that. I'm going to make each one of these a link back to itself. Index, first name, or last name. I think this would look a lot prettier in a table if these were the columns across the top, but I didn't build it that way from the beginning, so I'm just going to keep it really simple for right now. But what I can do is I can give each of these a separate variable that will or will not create an order by clause that gets shunted into the SQL statement. So they all need to be the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and call it order. I think that'll be fine. And each one could be email, first, and last. This won't do anything just yet, but you can see that those come through. Now the problem will be is if I'm at the end and I click email, it's going to go right back to the front. What's going on? Oh, let me do this one. Will help it. And what's the exists one? Is set. Doesn't like that. What's that brown? Is set is correct, isn't it? We've done that one a couple times, right? I thought so. It's not blue like the rest of them. It should be. Let me see if that screwed it up. Did something to it. What's going on? Oh, I guess I have to do this one first. There we go. Now, if it doesn't exist, it's fine. If you want to be able to keep this going the way it is, we can do and O equals. And from here, I can actually tell it to just echo $O, because we've created that up there, but now I'm basically sending two variables through the URL. What this means is that I can go to the next page, and when I click on to resort these, which doesn't quite work yet, the O is still being sent. And so that part of the commands are still being taken over. If I go to the next one, first, last, O still equals 10. I don't think I've done that with you guys too much, where there's multiple variables coming through the get. You're allowed to do that. If you look at Amazon, click on any link in Amazon, you'll see 10 or 15 ands in there with all the different product numbers and descriptions and serials and stuff. Okay, so right now I can get it to do this. I can get it to send email first and last. I need to come up here and create a nice little switch case to get all of these. And I always have to look up switch case because I can never remember how they work. Switch. Leave that there for now. If it's not get O, it's, what do they call it? Sort? Order. If order's been set, then order equals get order. I can do that all in one line. So now I've got it, and I can say else $order equals 0, just to set it to some default value, and I don't really care about it. So in the switch case, I'm going to ask what's the value of order, and the cases that it could be are, it's a colon, isn't it? I think this is right. Email, first or last. And these are supposed to be colons because switch cases are weird. In the case that it's an email, I'm going to create a new order underscore SQL statement. And it's simply going to be space order by user underscore email with a semicolon. break. Oh, I need an equal sign. And so what we'll do down here when it actually goes and grabs this and does the limit, we can get it to concatenate. You'll see that's actually why I put a space right here in front of it. There it is. There's my period order SQL. So basically what I should do is, if my default on this should be order equals nothing, because if we come to the page for the first time, there's not going to be an order in the get. So if it's going to concatenate something to the SQL statement, it should just be nothing. Otherwise, it's going to otherwise it would limited by 0 and then 50 if I had it concatenated to 0. Okay, but you probably see the pattern here now. Is I'm just going to do this for each of these. User email. Oh, these should be ASC, ascending. Yeah. ASC, ASC, and I guess these should be first and user last. Is that the actual columns I have in the database? That would be good to know. User underscore email first and last. Okay, I did match those up properly. Let's see if I broke it. Nope. I did break it. Woohoo! Doesn't like it here. What doesn't it like? 0 given in 32. Is this wrong? Does... Oh, I think I know what it is. There. The order by has to come before limit. That's what was messing it up. But if I do the previous 5, undefined variable, order SQL. What's the, I need to, so I think what was going on right here is because I don't have one up here, when it goes through the switch cases, it doesn't meet any of these criteria. So order SQL is never created. What I have to do is I need a default. If none of those work, then order SQL just equals nothing. Oh, I was trying to do this on this variable. That didn't work out properly. This one can be anything. I think this will work. There we go. And if I do email, I can do it by first name. So A, B, B, E, J, that's in the right order. I can do it by first name, by last name. And the only other problem now is that if I go by last name and I go to my next 5, it loses the order by. That. Remember how I added in the order by, I added the O to it? I just basically need to add order to the bottom ones. So all I need down here is going to be I need an and symbol. Order equals, same for you, order equals and an ampersand, and right in here I'm going to put a little PHP that is not echo previous, it's going to be echo order. I think that'll work. Again, I need to check this. Order equals nothing. If I'm in email, order equals email. I can go in the previous. I can switch this to first. Uh-oh. Nope, nothing came through. And O equals last. I did something wrong in here. I did. I'm starting to see too many things. Next, that's what I'm looking for. Oh, because total's in the middle. Sorry. I didn't do this. I instead changed the O to order. Oops. Start over. Start at the very beginning. Okay. And let me turn off where it prints out the stupid query. I'll leave it just in case I need to turn it back on. So I can go through the next. Order is nothing in this, and that's okay. It's allowed to be up there and not have anything. We could put an if statement that says if it's not equal to anything, then don't display it, but it doesn't matter. If I go back to the beginning, I can sort by last name. So Karen comes up first. And if I go my nexts, it is going through, it's still alphabetized by last name. I can at any time switch over to first, and I'm at the end of the first name list. I can be at the end, oops, I can go to the next 5, I can be at the end of the email list. So there you go. I will put this code up. This is a much easier example than what the book has. They're going to check and double check everything, but this is a very basic way to do exactly what you're going to be doing for Chapter 10. What questions you guys got?
The pagination.
Yeah?
We've done it in Dreamweaver before.
Yes.
What's the reason for doing it?
So you know what it's doing. This is almost identical to what Dreamweaver does. This is slightly less complicated. But when it doesn't work, or when you want to add it yourself, I want you to understand this. Yeah, a lot of this chapter is a lot of the same stuff that Dreamweaver can do in a few clicks, but now you understand what's going on under the hood, and the chapters are going to have you write out a lot of code it's different than Dreamweaver's, but yeah. Okay.